Hey everyone, ErikOnPaper here, and I'm still Eric, and welcome. Now, this poor viewer had requested Iron Man Mark 42 for the longest time, and I had commissions and other projects to do, and I was putting it off a bit because I don't feel I'm that good at drawing technical details and machines, but I'm always encouraging everyone to reach outside their comfort zone and expand. So who am I not to take my own advice? So I also thought it'd be fun to do a piece without Copic markers and just colored pencils to see how it turned out. And here it is. So obviously begin with a sketch of Iron Man, and one of the things I really had to keep in mind was the fact that Iron Man has, in particular this iteration, has a ton of plates and little gadgets and just gizmos everywhere, and trying to keep track of that for me is a little tough, but uh, what I find really helped, and I probably still got some things a bit off in the art if I'm perfectly honest, but a good exercise that I found help was just really taking your time and measuring and figuring things out. Like this hand that I'm drawing here, I wasn't particularly happy with, though, so I went in and redid it a few times just to get it right. And as soon as it starts making sense to you and being true to the character, then you can proceed to other steps. And thankfully, there are a lot of images of the Mark 42 because they have all kinds of toys and things like that uh, made. So just Google Images is your friend. Now, when it came to inking, I put up a poll on my site, which is, do you want to see this in inks or just colored pencils? People voted for inks, but I didn't want to disappoint anyone, so this is going to be a hybrid of both. I went in and went in with this really basic coloring book approach to inking that I know I would fill in later. And once I erased all that, I thought, okay, well, where do I want the shadows to be? And I decided, but also keeping in mind that Iron Man would be reflecting an environment. So I just went in and I had fun and just really tried to give the artwork a lot of dimension and life and having it stand out. Now, your eye is going to go to the brighter spaces in the piece, and here I am working with the colored pencils. Now, normally I dye the paper with Copic markers, but I wanted to see how far I could push colored pencils, and I really was liking this look. I can do a more in depth tutorial on colored pencils if you wish, but the main thing to start with is doing small circles of your lightest color. Just the small pattern over and over again. Build up with your next darkest shade, so on and so forth. And then what I found helped is I worked backwards from there. Uh, as in, black would be the last thing I put on, and then I would start working in the shade that was above black, then the shade that was all the way back to my lightest shade. And that really helped cement a lot of detail in the piece. And I even added a brown for some reflective texture. But I found when I added the black in as the final layer, it made everything richer, made the shadows stand out, and helped make everything smooth. Now, I wanted the gold in his armor to be a lot more reflective than the red in his armor. That I wanted to be a much duller metal, but still metallic. And initially, I was really dissatisfied with the way the reds were coming out when I put down my first layer. And when that happens, start mixing in other colors. Like I had an orange that I started working into the red, and just went back over the red, and even with some purple shades in there, and that started to give the richness of colors that I like. I am not a super big fan of desaturated colors, as anyone who looks at my work can probably tell. Sometimes they suit their purpose, but not for me. And the grays were much easier to work with, just going in with the again the same light to dark process, but in this case I wasn't looking for a richness of color. It's gray after all, and we want the reds and gold to pop. And as I was working it in, though, the colors the thing that the reason I was putting off doing the hand was I wasn't sure of how I was going to do the energy effects. Like, should I do the blue completely and then go into red, or do the red and hope the blue would overlay? So I did some research, and what I found out and what you'll see in just a few moments is that I overlaid the blue and left a lot of white in there. And that implies energy, it implies a glow, etc. And that, I think, served me best. And it's something to where, yes, in terms of doing digital effects, or energy effects, I should say, digital has the advantage of being brighter. You can overlay your line work and things like that. But I will say that learning to use colored pencils and working with them is a really fun, rich, and satisfying experience. And I will most likely be doing this again because I had a lot of fun with this piece. So yeah, was this piece super fun? Towards the end, it was a little intimidating to try to get right, but overall, I am pretty happy with this, and I'm probably going to keep up doing with the colored pencils, and it looks like the way I'm holding it, Iron Man's about to shoot me. I guess he's not that happy with the piece. Just kidding. So up next, I'm still going to be doing more art commission videos. Bryn and I are moving steadily towards shooting on Spider-Man 4, doing the previs. There's a lot of that I want to show, but we're trying to decide what's spoiler alert material and what's and what will get people excited. We're moving into wardrobe fittings for Spider-Man 4 pretty soon. Also, gearing up for a big table read. I'm happy and excited about that. Uh, as per usual, let me know what characters you'd like to see at the bottom. I have an ongoing list, and keep telling your stories.